Well, very good morning to you. It is 7 a.m., Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Welcome to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We will take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. Did you like yesterday? If you did, well, you see what we have for you today. Sunshine, highs low to mid 80s. Yesterday was sort of the way to ease you toward the 80s. We head to meteorologist Mike Favetta with a first check of this morning's Garden State forecast. Good morning to Mike.
Good morning to you, Ken. Yeah, it looks beautiful today, and we still get to keep the comfortable levels of humidity around. So even though those highs will climb into the 80s today, we're not sweating it out just yet. Now, that may change come Friday with some more humid weather in the forecast, but we'll take these early morning temperatures that begin in the upper 40s and low 50s, even 39 still in Flemington, but over down toward LBI, even Atlantic City, starting your day at around 50 degrees. It is a lovely, dry start with plenty of sunshine, and we keep it clear through this afternoon. With that, the dew points, or the measure of air, a measure of moisture in the air, keeps it low, and that means we will stay dry throughout today. With the winds that are light blowing from the south and west, not too much of a gusty breeze this morning, anywhere from 6 to 14 miles per hour. The winds pick up this afternoon, so you will notice a stiffer breeze by the end of the day, upwards of 24, 25 miles per hour, and that lasts through this evening. That pushes in all of that mild weather and keeps it around throughout tomorrow afternoon as well, with another warm day ahead. Skies are clear, so sunshine will keep our skies rolling in through this afternoon. Lots of clear sky into the end of the day, and with it, a milder finish. Futurecast has temperatures starting off in the 50s, but turning much warmer by this afternoon. We're knocking on 80 degrees by noon today in northeastern New Jersey, getting up to 83 in Newark. How about 77 even toward Toms River, 83 in Trenton. When you head toward the coast, you will notice a significant cool down with that air blowing right off of a 55-degree Atlantic Ocean. So that's why on LBI, your temperature kind of sticks around at 57 degrees and 58 in Atlantic City. Later on tonight, there could be a few quick passing sprinkles only in northern New Jersey, and those kind of dissipate very quickly. So by tomorrow morning, while temperatures climb into the upper 60s and low 70s, a day very similar to yesterday. We'll keep it dry, keep it sunny, but won't be as breezy or as warm. Now at Thursday, notice the clouds that roll in. This is the warm front that does a great job of taking our temperatures into the next territory, and that could be as warm as near 90 degrees. So with Friday's humidity that rolls in, there could be a few spotty showers that come through, but it's going to be a day with a mix of sun and clouds and temperatures that climb well into the 80s. We're knocking on 90 degrees there by 2 o'clock Friday afternoon in Newark, Hackensack, even over toward Trenton and down by Camden. So a very warm and humid way to finish out the week, but it also turns rainy by Friday evening. Those are the thunderstorms that take over to wrap up the work week, clearing out for a beautiful Saturday and Sunday. Temperatures on the rise throughout today, cooling off a touch tomorrow, same for Thursday, lose a few degrees, but we're back up into the 80s by Friday with those afternoon storms. A scene almost of summer around here as we finish out April and welcome in May with a much milder feel. We'll tell you all about it coming up with another check of the forecast, have an update on the UV. First time this year we hit the next category. We'll tell you what that is in just a few minutes, Ken.
UV, you, me, go figure. You know, my husband, I came home yesterday. I was out. I came home because I'm working from home. But I came home and I see him out in the yard for the first time getting sun, which was
Yeah.
good and bad because that means I officially lose him now until September. But that might be a good thing too. Get stuff done in the house. All right, Mike. Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate it. 47 degrees here in my little enclave in northern New Jersey. I'm sure it's about 8 degrees warmer at the nearest city of Morristown. 7:04 is our time. And checking traffic, we have a disabled vehicle on the Turnpike Outer Roadway southbound north of Interchange 9, which is Route 18 in Edison, with a left lane blocked. We have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Western Spur northbound, just north of Interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark, with a right shoulder blocked. And we have a debris spill on I-80, both directions, west of exit 25, which is Route 206 in Mount Olive Township. The left shoulder is closed eastbound and one left lane closed westbound. Crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Pennsylvania extension eastbound west of, let's see, that just refreshed in front of me. west of the New Jersey Turnpike South in Mansfield Township. The right shoulder is blocked. And we also have that emergency construction on I-80 both directions at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. All lanes are closed in both directions, everybody being detoured off. Of course, that's going to be going on for the next few weeks. In the meantime, you can expect lots of delays going through Wharton. In fact, even some issues on Route 15 itself yesterday. We'll talk more about that a little bit later in the morning. 7:05. So when will the sinkhole repairs on I-80 finally be completed? Well, in spite of satellite, electric current, and seismic technologies, it's still a major problem, of course, uncovering all the old mines under the surface of the roadway. That's what DOT officials are facing as they try to repair 3 big voids that appeared on Route 80 in February and March. So that caused the closure of the roadway near exit 34. They need to fill all of those voids because you can't just put a veneer over a hole, obviously, to prevent any future sinkholes. The sinkholes cause traffic to be rerouted along local roads, including Route 15, causing massive delays and tons of local traffic. DOT officials do not have accurate maps of where the oldest abandoned mines and vertical shafts are located throughout the state, some of which opened as far back as the 18th century. I was around. There are 10 separate mines with entrances through, though thought to be located within a few hundred feet of the interstate where it meets Route 15, so they have to check every square inch of roadway through there now to make sure we don't have a repeat. The Jones Road wildfire continues burning into its 7th day. However, Ocean County roadways have now been reopened. As of Sunday, over 15,000 acres had burned. The fire is now just over 65% contained. Officials say 19-year-old Joseph Kling of Waretown was charged with arson for allegedly improperly extinguishing a bonfire, which may have led to one of New Jersey's worst wildfires. 7:07. Imagine waiting for a healthy check being sent by mail, only to find out that the check was stolen. You're waiting, you never got your money. Well, 2 people reported their mail checks totaling more than $23,000 got stolen from a mailbox, but it wasn't just any mailbox. The mailbox was right smack in front of the Glen Rock post office. It happened on Monday, or at least the report was on Monday. The checks had been placed inside the mailbox in front of the post office. You would think there'd be surveillance video. This was on January 20th and February 16th. They never got sent. Officials say there may have been other mailbox thefts in the Glen Rock area in recent months, so now they have to investigate. It is 7:08. Firefighters are working to control a different fire. It's a big fire at a 15-acre mulch recycling facility in Camden County, which led to the evacuation of 50 homes Sunday afternoon. Officials say the fire at the Wade Salvage and Mulch facility in the Atco section of Waterford broke out about 4 o'clock late Sunday afternoon, and the blaze expanded into a field outside the facility because of all those high winds, if you recall, that we had on Sunday. The good news is nobody got hurt. 7:08. Now that Pope Francis has been laid to rest, the cardinals of the Vatican have set May 7th as the start date for the conclave to elect his successor. They delayed the start by an additional 2 days so many of the newer cardinals could get to know each other. They simply are so new they don't even realize who each other is or are. To better make their decision, they have to chat among themselves. When they are sequestered in the Sistine Chapel, ultimately they will make their decisions. They will have to vote multiple times a day until they elect a pope. Only the 135 cardinals who are up to the age of 80 will be allowed to vote on the next pontiff. There are 240 or so cardinals, but only the 135 who are up to 80 get to vote. That means you have to have a 2/3 number in order to elect a pope. So 90 cardinals have to elect the next pope. 7:09. The suspect who was arrested over the weekend in the theft of Secretary Kristi Noem's purse is in the country illegally. She's the Homeland Security Director, of course. Officials say a second suspect who is also in the country illegally and is being sought by law enforcement right now, still being looked for. It is not believed the unnamed suspect targeted Noem specifically because she is the Department of Homeland Security Secretary, but rather they saw her as a victim of opportunity. They apparently saw she had an expensive looking purse. She was in a crowded restaurant. They figured perfect opportunity. The suspect has likely earned himself a one-way ticket to the El Salvador mega prison now, though. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is now involved, and the question still remains, how does anyone get close enough to the nation's most powerful law enforcement leader while she is surrounded by Secret Service agents? Secret Service slipping up there again. It is 7:10. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has ordered a 3-day ceasefire in his country's war on Ukraine from May 8th to the 10th, coinciding with Moscow's World War II Victory Day commemorations. Remember, back then we were on the same side. Ukraine quickly accused Putin's forces, now more than 3 years into their full-scale invasion, of violating the last ceasefire Putin declared, which was on Easter Sunday. 710, here is an example of what can be accomplished when you aren't in a sanctuary city or state and local law enforcement cooperates with the feds. In a groundbreaking joint effort, ICE Miami and local Florida police arrested nearly 800 illegal immigrants during the first 4 days of Operation Tidal Wave. Take a look at some of the arrests. They displayed them out on the lawn of the White House yesterday for everybody to see. So this is called Operation Tidal Wave, a massive multi-agency immigration enforcement crackdown. Among those arrested, a convicted Colombian murderer, alleged MS-13 and 18th Street gang members, and a Russian with an Interpol notice for manslaughter. He's wanted all over the world, but we just let him right in the front door. The White House celebrated yesterday by posting the pictures, as you see, of the worst criminal illegals on the lawn, where left-wing reporters often do their live shots, and they never talk about the successes the Trump administration had in arresting these people, but now they will be forced to do so. All they talk about is, oh, the poor Maryland father sent to that El Salvador prison. We're so mean, those Republicans. Well, the way the pictures were laid out on the lawn, any White House correspondent would have to have those pictures in their backgrounds and would thus be forced to explain why they are there. Brilliant work from White House Press Secretary Christine, and of course, forgetting her last name. I'm sorry, live on the air. But the press secretary was the one who thought to do this, because the mainstream media never gives credit to President Trump for having arrested all these criminal illegals. They love the left loves to paint them as poor, innocent people who are just coming for a better life. These people all have criminal records outside of just breaking into the U.S., which is by itself something that gives you a criminal record. But these people all are wanted for things above and beyond. Look, rape, murder, incest, murder. Yet the left thinks it's just fine to have them as part of the American fabric. Nice going, left. Keep doing that and you'll keep losing elections. We like it that way. 712, a self-described Hamas operative who infiltrated the U.S. Air Force and once boasted that, quote, he's been a terrorist since he's been a kid, was hit with additional charges this week alongside 2 Pittsburgh women after the feds foiled an apparent terror plot involving a pair of pipe bombs. Take a look at this kid's pictures. He is 23 years old now. I call him a kid. That's him at 23. But we have pictures of him even when he was younger. He is named Mohammed Hamad. He has dual citizenship in the U.S. and Lebanon. Those are some of the social media posts we showed you there, and that's him as a kid holding a gun. He was already charged for defacing a synagogue. He's now been hit with a 9-count superseding indictment along with 2 other people. Investigators say in addition to his previously charged role in defacing Jewish religious property, he also conspired with others to manufacture and detonate destructive devices. What's more frightening is that he functioned as part of what appeared to be a kind of sleeper cell, and he had some high security clearance with U.S. military. Scary. Thank you, Biden. It is 7:13. You know how one wacky image online can go viral in minutes? Pam, I'm giving you a heads up. This is the crooked guy. All right. That's what we're going to, you have to see it. That's why I can't do the story if you don't show crooked guy. Check out this guy. That's crooked guy. Look at the right side with all the muscle versus the left side. Do not try this at home. Not a good thing to do. He is 19 and he is otherwise normal and good shape. He's a handsome guy. Why would he do this? Well, he decided to try something weird to shame men online who arrogantly display their perfect bodies for self-promotion. This man, who goes only by the name The Crooked Man, works out only on his left side to see how lopsided he can become on purpose. Please don't try this at home. A lot of medical professionals saying you could hurt your back permanently, hurt your neck, even hurt your internal organs. Don't try this. His goal is to become as, quote, asymmetrical as possible. He documents his lopsided progress, focusing on that left trapezius muscle, specifically up here. The teen calls himself the internet's first ever looks minimizer. Ever since launching his social media accounts in October of 2023, the 19-year-old has been regularly posting his workouts, isolated to just his left trapezius muscle, documenting its growth and the lopsided appearance it has given him. It is now 47 degrees at 7:15. When we come back, New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein will have the latest on New Jersey's political scene with the Inside Edge. It's going to be sunny today, highs in the low to mid 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we will take your calls at 888-658-0234. 888-658-0234. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings on your Tuesday. Don't go away. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings for your Tuesday. I'm Ken Rosato. I just got, for Q, I got in my ear, go for it, from Pam. I love you, Pam. She's the best. I get to work with her every day, so there. It's awesome. I call her the queen of I-80s internet sensation, the sinkhole. Anyway, it is now 7:17. We're taking your calls at 888-658-0234. We say that, by the way, because she has to drive past that every single day. It's going to be sunny today, highs in the low to mid 80s. We go straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with the Garden State forecast. Mike, all these years in television, they always tell us don't tell inside stories because then you have to keep explaining. And of course, I'm only doing this 40 years, so I figured why not just violate the rule. Here's Mike with the forecast. Good morning, sir.
Why not, right? It's all about the family relationships, right? We're like one big happy family here
I
at On New
agree.
Jersey. It's true, yeah. Well, we start off this morning with a little bit of love from nature, with temperatures that climb into the upper 70s, even low 80s by the end of the day. It'll feel fantastic for that walk or stroll outside. You'll notice a little bit of a gusty breeze as compared to yesterday. Yesterday had a little bit of winds picking up by the end of the day. Well, today you get those breezes all day long, specifically down toward the waterfront. Over in Long Branch, 68 is your high because the winds come in off of the water, making it feel so much cooler. Inland over toward Tom's River, actually warm up a little bit because you're a few miles away from the Atlantic, but still well further inland, like sections of Freehold, Matawan, and back over toward Trenton and Flemington, you could make it into the low and mid 80s by the end of the day. So a very warm finish after what'll start out to be a nice sunny start to the day. That means pollen goes right back up to the high levels, specifically for trees. Grasses on the rise as well. They're turning moderate. And of course, weeds and molds remain low as the air has been quite dry. And we're not quite at that weed season just yet. All right, here it is. UV index for the first time this year up at an 8, which is very high on the scale. So you could burn quite easily, specifically with all that sunshine around today. It stays beautiful through this afternoon. Lots of clear sky around going into the end of the day. All of these clouds don't arrive until tomorrow, and that'll help cool us down just a little bit later on this evening. So you see with the Futurecast, first clouds arriving later on tonight into early tomorrow morning. That'll cool us off a little bit throughout the overnight, starting our day tomorrow, basically where it did this morning in the upper 40s and low 50s, but it's the afternoon high tomorrow that only makes it into the upper 60s and low 70s, so about 10 degrees cooler than today. You'll notice that drop in temperatures. Thursday sees a little bit of a milder trend, but I think it's Friday that really sees the warm up again with that warmer weather taking over. The warm front doing its job, bringing in more humidity, also some more clouds. There'll be a fair amount of sunshine throughout the day, but look at those temperatures jump into the upper 80s, near 90 from Newark and Trenton, even down toward Camden and Mount Holly. So from north to south, it'll be a warmer finish to the week, but Friday evening also brings in the threat of some thunderstorms. So keep that in mind later on in the day. Saturday has a few showers that come through early on in the morning. That's the remaining rain, but Sunday clears out beautifully, and we're dry all day Sunday with a sunny finish to the weekend, clearing out and staying dry throughout Monday into Tuesday. So this weekend looks great. Lots of clear weather to wrap up our Saturday with a high of 69 degrees and 68 on Sunday. It looks beautiful with a little bit of a dry northwesterly wind that keeps us breezy, sunny, and cool to start off our Sunday. So a really pretty way to finish out the work week and start off the weekend, and really start off the first weekend in May. Excellent weather here in New Jersey, Ken.
You have to think about the state. I love it. Just for a second. It's like we
Need
don't talk
another
about New
espresso.
Jersey enough on New Jersey. We just had the momentary. We like to call it the technical term. You know what the technical term is, right? It's called a brain fart.
What's that? Brain
Um,
fart. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that's we just had because I never had that on the air. I have a PhD in brain fartology, just so that you know. Uh,
Oh, okay.
anyway,
I'm working through my
by the way,
master's.
Pam and I were just discussing because poor Wharton, Route 15 in Wharton has gotten such a rap because of the sinkholes. I said
Yeah.
somebody needs to open a merch shop on Route 15 that's selling, and they
Oh.
should open it on Sinkhole de Mayo, and they should sell samples of soil from the sinkholes. I mean, it could be fake,
Why do
like a
I feel
Florida,
you would be the one out
Florida
there
air. Dude, because
selling
this is
merch
the
for
way my
Sinkhole
sick
de
brain
Mayo?
thinks. This is the way my sick brain thinks. I'm just exposing it on the air for everybody to see. Now you know. Hey, if I do it, you watch. It'll work. I promise you. Well, I'll split the profits with everybody. Mike is just not having it. All right,
I'll wait for
buddy.
my big fat $0 check.
No, my luck, it would be negative numbers. All right, Mike. Let's head back with you in a little bit. Thank you very much, pal. Appreciate it. All right, we're laughing, but now take a look at the not so funny. We might as well start out with the 80-95 approach to the GWB. That's ugly. That's enough to take the smile off anyone's face. So you're looking at basically stopped traffic trying to make your way over the GWB. And I'm looking to see if there's an accident or something, and I'm not seeing it. I think it's just volume at this point. There's no accident listed or any other reason for this but volume. But if you look on the left side, that's the lower level approach, the right side, the upper level approach, and both. Look, the upper level is dead stopped. But the fact that there's nobody in the right lane, you see how the tractor trailer's on the right, and to his right or her right, there is an empty lane of traffic. So maybe there's something coming up ahead where the right lane is merging over to the left. My guess. That's it. That's the only thing I could think of because that's just extraordinarily stopped. So lower level, very slow. That's about an hour at best right now heading into the GWB. Just letting you know. We also do have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike northbound by the entrance ramp for interchange 11 by the Garden State Parkway in Woodbridge Township. A left lane is blocked. We also have a crash on the Turnpike outer roadway southbound north of interchange 9, which is Route 18 in Edison Township with a left lane blocked. Crash on the Turnpike western spur northbound north of interchange 15E, which is 1 and 9 in Newark with the right shoulder blocked. And we have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Pennsylvania extension eastbound west of the Turnpike south in Mansfield Township, right shoulder blocked. And we still have, boy, they keep popping up here. Debris spill on I-80 both directions west of exit 25, Route 206 in Mount Olive Township. Left shoulder closed eastbound, one left lane closed westbound. And finally, we have the I-80 ongoing sinkhole that we were talking about. That's a different shot. They moved the camera for us to give you a better vantage point of Route 15. I'm guessing, Pam, right? That's Route 15 on the left? Pam would know because she drives. Oh, both sides. Okay, so 15 split. Yep, they sure do. Thank you. Pam knows that area very well. So you can see the cars coming toward you on the left is Route 15 in one direction. Actually, that would, let's see, east, west. I have to do the quick math here. So it's northbound is behind us on that image, right? Southbound is behind the trees. Southbound is what we're seeing. Pam tells us. So Pam drives it, so she knows. And that is what we got. So right now, Route 80, both directions at exit 34, Route 15. This is an ongoing problem, another few weeks, but a real mess going through there. It is now 7:24 and time for politics from Trenton, explained like no one else can do it. Here is New Jersey Globe editor David Wildstein with the Inside Edge.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, April 29th. Welcome to the Inside Edge. We have 6 weeks to go before primary election day, and I guess it was inevitable that we were going to have the lieutenant governor talk at some point. So I guess we might as well start that dialogue now. Uh, Except for Steve Fulop, any candidate who tells you they haven't thought at all about who they'd be picking as a running mate, maybe they're not being completely candid. Fulop's already made his choice. It's South Orange Mayor Sheena Collum. And when nominees consider an LG candidate, I think they're going to look at what I'll call the three abilities: compatibility, electability, and no vulnerability. Candidates are going to look to someone they get along with, maybe for the next 8 years of their lives. Certainly on the campaign trail, possibly in state government. It's no secret that Chris Christie didn't get along with Kim Guadagno. Phil Murphy has a great relationship with Tahisha Way, just as he did with Sheila Oliver. And the nominees team is going to look for someone who brings some value added to the ticket. In this business, that's called votes. And the ones they're going to get crossed off the list first are the ones that come with some vulnerabilities. Lieutenant governor candidates need to accomplish three things between their selection in November. One is a smooth rollout. Two is to do no harm. And three is to get along with the gubernatorial candidate and his or her team. I think you're going to see no real risk being taken, safe picks all around. And let's be clear, campaigns aren't going to put a whole lot of resources behind building up the name ID of the LG candidate, and the opposition isn't going to spend any significant money to build up their negatives. And the media, I mean, they could barely cover the candidates for governor. Democrats, much more than Republicans, will look for a balance ticket, racial balance, gender balance. I mean, face it, if Josh Gottheimer or Steve Sweeney get through the primary, they're not picking white male running mates. Look at Fulop's choice, an Asian American suburban woman mayor who shares many of his views on the issues, and more importantly, they're already friends. Sheena Collum comes with impeccable credentials. She's likable. She's a strong campaigner and no baggage. That's everything for today. Remember the three abilities: compatibility, electability, and no vulnerability. Hello, Garnett, and I'll be back tomorrow.
All right, David Wildstein, like no one else can tell us. 7:28. There are several national and regional days set aside for America's indigenous peoples. In fact, even the entire month of November honors indigenous peoples in the United States. And they very much deserve it, especially with how they were treated. So this is what I'm about to talk about with Columbus Day, is not in any way to disrespect indigenous peoples, because they are our revered people, and rightfully so in America. But there is only one day set aside to honor the contributions of Italian Americans, now nearly 20 million strong, by the way, in the US. It's one of the largest ethnic groups in our country. Columbus Day is that one day. Now, if you want to go ahead and set aside some other days for us as an Italian American, we'd be happy. But everyone says, well, why do you guys honor Columbus? Well, it wasn't our choice. It was President Harris, who actually named Columbus Day. And he was not Italian. But that's what we were handed, and so that's what we celebrate. Well, enter the liberals, who've been working to end Columbus Day for decades now, most recently by adding an extra day called Indigenous Peoples Day. Even though there are 5 other Indigenous Peoples Days and a whole month, they just wanted to co-opt Columbus Day by renaming it Indigenous Peoples Day on top of Columbus Day so states can choose and not honor Columbus, which is a total disrespect to Italian Americans. You would never do this to Black Americans. You would never do it to Latino Americans, but you have no problem doing it to Italian Americans. Well, on Sunday, President Trump added some weight to Columbus Day remaining a federal holiday, posting on Truth Social, quote, "I'm bringing Columbus Day back from the ashes. The Democrats did everything possible to destroy Christopher Columbus, his reputation, and all of the Italians that love him so much. They tore down his statues and put up nothing but woke, or even worse, nothing at all." Pam, thank you for remembering we had that. I forgot. It happens. As we were talking with Mike before about brain fartology, that's what I have a master's in, or a PhD. It is 7:30. When is the best time to eat a banana? If your name is Pam and you're the director of this show, never. But when it's sort of green, do you like bananas? When it's perfectly yellow, look at the peel of the banana. Nothing like the banana peeling first thing in the morning. Do you like to eat your bananas when they're softening and turning brown, or just make banana bread with them? Well, the answer is yes to all three. The journey from green and firm to brown and mushy involves fascinating chemical changes that can significantly impact how your body processes bananas. But here's the thing most people miss. Depending on your health goals, when you choose to eat that banana might matter more than you think. If you eat bananas that are green and firm, they're higher in starch and they provide more fiber and prebiotics for your gut. As bananas get into regular yellow, you get enzymes breaking down the resistant starch into simpler sugars, primarily glucose and sucrose. And that explains why a green banana tastes starchy and almost savory, while a fully ripened brown banana delivers the intense sweetness that makes it perfect for banana bread. Bottom line, eating bananas at all stages provides different kinds of health benefits. All of them are good for you. So there's never really a bad time then, again, unless your name is Pam, never a bad time to have a banana. So there you have it. I love bananas. There's always bananas on my shelf upstairs. But again, so you buy 3 of them, have one the first day, have one 2 days later, and one 4 days later, and you'll get 3 different types of nutritional benefits from bananas. By the way, you want your bananas to last longer? You should wash them with water, dry them, and then cover the stem part with plastic wrap. They'll last 2 to 3 days longer before turning brown. There you have it. 7:32 now, and we have 47 degrees. When we come back, a celebration of the founding member of Kool and the Gang. What a great group. A native of the Garden State, the founding member was. The phone lines are open, by the way, taking your calls at 888-658-0234. Sunshine today, highs in the low to mid 80s. The full Garden State forecast with meteorologist Mike Favetta in just a moment. You are watching on New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X, and now streamed live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We'll be right back. Very good morning. It is 47 degrees at 7:33. It is Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Just a day left. I'm Ken Rosato, and welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Lots of sun today. Highs in the low to mid 80s. Still dry, though. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Good morning, Ken. Great day ahead. Lots of warm weather and sunshine to enjoy. So if you plan on maybe hitting up the beaches, bundle up because it gets a lot colder as you head down toward the shore points. Water temperatures still in the 50s. So even though it'll be in the mid 80s in northern New Jersey, it only reaches the 50s today at the coast. And that's an important designation because even this time of year, as we head into the end of April, while it's very mild elsewhere in the state, the beaches are still quite chilly thanks to all of those cool sea breezes. It turns cooler statewide tomorrow with a weak cold front that comes through tonight, but the warm front moves back in for Friday, bringing highs to near 90 and the threat of some evening and late day thunderstorms by Friday afternoon. Temperatures today toward the ocean, much cooler than inland. Island, 63 in Atlantic City, 65 in Ocean City, back over toward Hamilton, and even over by Glassboro and Camden, temperatures well above 80, and it'll stay that way through the end of the day. So plenty of great weather to enjoy. We have an earlier sunset now before 6 a.m. Sunrise before 6 a.m. Sun setting closer to 8 p.m. now. And with those longer daylight hours, we get in plenty of sunshine with a higher sun angle and stronger sun through this afternoon. Some high thin clouds earlier this morning in southern New Jersey, making for that beautiful sunrise. And through the rest of the week, we're dry until we get to Friday. That's our next chance of seeing those afternoon showers and storms. Some of them could linger into early Saturday morning, but I think they clear out by the afternoon. And then we're nice and dry come Monday and Tuesday. Quick check on the fires update. Again, this is from space. So the satellite detecting some flare-ups here over toward western Ocean County, right on the border of Burlington County, and then back over toward Camden County, but no smoke detected, so those fires quite small. The air quality looks great today, nice and dry, and we'll see that southwesterly breeze that takes over by the end of the day, keeping our air rather clear. Some lingering smoke from a wildfire out of the area could put some of these particles over northern New Jersey. That's why you see those shades of yellow and the air quality above 50. Remember, anytime it's between 50 and 100 could see some poor air quality there. So with the clear sky through this evening, we see the clouds take over tonight. That's the front pushing through, back to clear sky tomorrow, but cooler with a little bit of a northerly breeze. And then here's the warm front that comes in for Thursday and Friday, providing a much warmer feel that'll bring highs up to into the upper 80s, right around 90 by the end of the day, but also the storms that take over Friday night into early Saturday morning. So we get a few rumbles of thunder around here, a quick round of rain by the end of the week. But until then, we see very mild weather, and temperatures slide from today in the 80s to the 70s tomorrow, and then the upper 60s by Thursday. So a gradual decrease in temperatures before jumping back into the 80s again for Friday. Again, the rain for Saturday is mostly in the morning, and I think it clears out by the afternoon. Sunday looks beautiful, nothing but sunshine. Temperatures climb back up into the upper 60s, and Monday also clear as well. So it's slightly cooler at the shore points, and your 7-day for the beaches brings in another round of mild weather this afternoon, but again, cooler through the next few days, as we really only should be getting into the mid 60s each and every day. I think Friday has that chance of rain for you, same for Saturday morning, and then cooler by Sunday, high of 65. But the sun will feel beautiful each and every day, Ken, with that strong, clear sunshine around throughout the afternoon each day. Again, with the exception of Friday, we're looking good.
And we're loving that. Thank you so much, Mike. It is now 47 degrees at 7:37. We have a traffic cam to show you right now. This is in the vicinity of East Orange on the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 147.0, exit 145. Entering the parkway, you can see really heavy. At this point, it's just volume. There's no accident, but this is just giving you an idea again of what to expect as people are heading to work. And you can see the sun is basically in their eyes. You see how the shadow is behind the vehicles. So that's what happens a lot. People see that glare in their eyes and they go really slowly, understandably so. We also have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State Parkway northbound, not far from there, just about 5 miles away, south of exit 137, Route 28 in Cranford, with a right lane blocked. Crash on the Turnpike northbound entrance ramp, interchange 11, Garden State Parkway interchange with the Turnpike at Woodbridge. Left shoulder is blocked. And then, of course, the ongoing sinkhole repair east and west at exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. That's going to be going on for the next few weeks, at least, before anything is reopened. First will be westbound, then eastbound. Our time is 7:38, and now the incredible legacy of George Brown, the New Jersey native and the founding member of that handsome guy, Kool and the Gang. His final project, Jazz in Paris, is a heartfelt tribute to the music that first inspired him. Today, we speak with Kool and the Gang's musical director, Curtis F. Williams, about this powerful new album and Brown's lasting influence on New Jersey's Mike Black has more.
Well, George Brown helped shape the sound of a generation with Kool and the Gang's iconic fusion of jazz, funk, and soul. Now his posthumous album, Jazz in Paris, brings his musical journey full circle, paying tribute to his jazz roots and his love of legends like Miles Davis. Joining us to share more is Curtis F. Williams, musical director for Kool and the Gang. Curtis, great to have you on today.
Mike, it's wonderful to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to talk about this record. it's a beautiful piece of work, and honor to be here, honor to work on it, and really appreciate talking to you.
Well, the pleasure's all ours. So, Curtis, can you start by telling us a little about George Brown's inspiration behind jazz in Paris?
One of the first things is just with Kool and the Gang in and of itself. Those guys were rooted in jazz. The first name of the band was the Jazziacs. So that is always the main influence of their creativity, their music, the styles. Even once they ventured into more of the funk genre, dance, and pop, there was always the jazz undercurrent. And as far as the Jazz in Paris record, as Kool and the Gang, we had always spoken of doing a jazz album, and we didn't really get to doing Kool and the Gang jazz album. But George was really, really, really motivated and just feeling the strong urges to do a jazz record, like like traditional style, not like jazz fusion, if you will. And he also was inspired to possibly have songs in a Miles Davis movie, which still may get get put together. But he had met with a direct movie director and producer about the possibility of that, and so you can kind of hear that in the styling of the record as well. Very influenced by Miles Davis music.
And, Curtis, how would you say George's New Jersey roots helped shape this final project?
Oh, I imagine the environment, the lifestyle, the edginess, probably things he would hear in the neighborhoods. I grew up in Buffalo, New York, so I wasn't in. I visited New Jersey a lot. Once I joined the band, we recorded there. I actually lived there. But I imagine just all the influences, the sights, the smells, the sounds. It's close to New York, so I imagine all of those things would come into play in his creativity.
And what was it like for you to work on this album, knowing it would be such a meaningful part of George's legacy?
You know, quite an honor to be asked to help, well, basically finish it, which subsequently become a co-producer. Um, it was very emotional, of course, because George has only, he's passed. It's just been, it's approaching 2 years, and I to hear the ideas and the depth of the melodies and harmonies, and you really hear his emotion in the songs. And yeah, it got emotional quite often. Um, but I was really just, I wanted to definitely honor his vision and his legacy and his creativity as much as I could to just put the highest level of quality on the production.
It's fantastic. Now, Kool and the Gang was just inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with songs like Celebration, Ladies' Night, and my personal favorite, Fresh. I love that song, so catchy.
Yeah, yeah.
What does that recognition mean to the group, especially after George's passing?
Well, it's quite the highest honor musically. Um, and one thing obviously would have been nice if the guys would have been here to actually receive it, uh, you know, um, physically. But their spirits are here, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful honor. Highest, honor, like I said. Cool is still here, rocking hard, and we really had a great induction ceremony concert. JT was on with us. We played with the Roots. It was fantastic. So it just feels wonderful to be honored so highly.
And what do you hope fans take away from this record, Jazz in Paris?
Oh boy, you know it really shows the depth of George's creativity. Um, I wasn't there for the putting the songs together, so I actually didn't hear the material until it was after George had passed. And when his longtime colleague and friend and engineer played it for me, Wolfgang Eichholz, who has unfortunately passed just recently, because I co-produced it with him. He was an amazing man. When he played the songs, they just have so much depth that, I mean, it really sounds like you're listening to a top jazz station, traditional jazz station. It's like you're in a club. It's like you're in Paris. It's like you're in other parts of the world that have cafes, and just I let my daughter hear it, who's she's like young, and I feel funny saying the age of a woman. You know, like, hey, don't say my age. But when she heard it, she was just like, Daddy, it just seems like it feels like you're in the '50s at a cafe or something, and it really is so impressive. I really feel like it's award worthy, but I don't think it's biased. It's a truly beautiful record.
Well, that was a beautiful time for music. Now, any favorite memories or moments with George that you think capture who he was, not only as an artist, but also as a person?
I like the one thing about George, he is so man. He has a lot of depth, even as far as his so obviously create with his creativity, but he's so well versed in so many things. And with us being California neighbors, I would ride with him often, maybe to or from the airport. And boy, some of the conversations we get into of all kinds of things. A lot of times I would just listen because he had so much knowledge about so many things. I always found that I just always really, really admired that in him. Just through the years, because I joined the band when I was 18, and I ended up moving to the same complex in New Jersey that George did, because I would be in a car in my little hotel or something. Because I was still living in Buffalo, and then we rode. I rode from New York, go pick up George at this really beautiful facility, and then we just chat, and I'd listen. And I go, man, just from all those years, I go, man, this guy just knows a lot about a lot. But it was really impressive. But he's so well read, and very much wanting to have knowledge of just different things in the world, and so many things, simple, complex, and that's one of the things that was always impressive to me about George.
Curtis F. Williams, musical director for Kool and the Gang, thanks so much for taking the time and for sharing George's story.
Oh man, it's quite a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Pleasure's
And
all ours.
let's enjoy this record. It's beautiful.
Oh, yeah, can't wait to hear it. Thanks again for coming on.
Absolutely.
Love that. Thank you, Mr. Black, for that, and thank you to just an amazing story. And Kool and the Gang was such an incredible act. So many great hits. All right, 7:47. Just stop what you're doing for a second and check out this amazing video. A tragic ferry crash occurred in the waters near Clearwater, Florida. Watch your screen toward the bottom. You see the boat under the bridge there. Watch what happens right there. That's unbelievable to watch. So what had happened, this was in the waters off of Clearwater, Florida, Sunday night. The investigators of this accident say the driver of a boat, a pleasure boat, hit a Clearwater ferry, killing a person and injuring like a dozen others. Now officials say the person driving that private boat showed no signs of impairment during a sobriety test, but investigators are trying to figure out whether to charge him with leaving the scene of a crash, because apparently that driver took off and right after the crash, after stopping for a few seconds. So there's a question under the investigation as to why he would have taken off. Some say maybe he took off to get help. Who knows? That's why they're investigating. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission identified 62-year-old Jeff Knight as the operator of that 37-foot boat. No arrests have yet been made. The time is now 7:48. We have 47 degrees, and it'll be sunny today. Highs in the low to mid 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast, and we continue to take your calls at 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. 7:49. Welcome back to ONNJ Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Lots of sun today, highs in the low to mid 80s. Not a lot of humidity. Right to meteorologist Mike Favetta. He gets another gold star. Where are you going to fit all the gold stars on your report
I
card,
know
Mike?
I'm gonna have a second one, or maybe just go to the back. I don't know. Ken.
Addendum.
We know.
I got a
Yeah.
stapler right here. I got a stapler. We'll staple it on.
With weather like this really racking up those gold stars, you're right, especially through this afternoon. With the dry weather that keeps our highs well above average, we get to climb from the mid 40s where we sit now all the way up into the mid 80s later on this afternoon, in just a matter of hours, jumping those 40 degrees thanks to the low humidity. Hackensack and Jersey City sharing in the 80s as well. Back over towards Sussex and Newton, slightly cooler there in the northwestern hills of northern New Jersey, but still upper 70s, feeling great. And again, this is in the shade. You step into the sun, feels so much warmer. So as we've been mentioning, the drought continues here across northern New Jersey and southern New Jersey, with a little bit of a break right there in the middle thanks to the extra rain that's fallen this past month. But we're still running dry through Sussex County with that 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit. Likely see a few sprinkles tonight and then a more significant rain with the thunderstorms on Thursday. As far as the next 2 weeks are concerned, the temperature looks to be above average for most of the northern half of the U.S., including the Northeast here in New Jersey, and then slightly drier than average weather. So we keep it running slightly drier through the middle of May, especially as we enter the next season, bringing back some warm weather. So we like the dry weather today, as long as it keeps those highs above average. Clear sky throughout tomorrow, and slightly cooler by Thursday, but still 68 degrees is just around average where we should be for the first day in May. Thursday afternoon brings some thunderstorms in. Temperatures climb probably into the mid and upper 80s in some parts of the state, and Saturday morning has some lingering showers. I think Saturday afternoon clears out very nicely, and Sunday looks beautiful all day long with nice dry weather even lingering into Monday. The beach locations are a touch cooler, specifically with the sea breeze today and tomorrow, although tomorrow will be a bit milder. Thursday brings a high of 65, and Friday has our rain chances return. Again, Saturday at the beaches early in the morning, some light rain, but that clears by the afternoon, and Sunday looks like a gem. 65 and sunny. Great weather to get out and enjoy all of this pretty weather. The pollen is still an issue, though, and you'll notice that today with the southerly breezes blowing around that pollen, making it rise again. Kind of got a glimpse in between the trees yesterday, taking a walk yesterday afternoon. You could see like this, shade of green falling in between the branches. So it gets a little rough before it gets better in terms of the allergies.
And Mike, it's not easy being green. Having a
No,
Spetty
it's
say the
not.
color of the leaves. I'm just saying. Would you like me to start singing? I won't. I'll spare all of us. But yes, you're right. And I can still feel it in my throat. And my 94-and-a-half-year-old dad upstairs right now, he's staying with us for a little bit. He's been sneezing nonstop, and it's all because we're coated in pollen in this neighborhood. So
Yeah.
yes, you're right, sir. Much, much appreciated, Mike. It is 47 degrees now. It's 7:53. And we do have some traffic to talk to you about. Let's take a look at this southbound I-95. This is southbound Turnpike when you're coming off the bridge. Take a look at that mess, bumper to bumper, as folks are trying to make their way into Jersey. Lots of traffic to talk about right there. And this has been going on for the last half hour or so. We also have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 137, Route 28 in Cranford Township with the right shoulder blocked. A crash on the Garden State Parkway southbound north of 136, which is Stiles Street in Cranford Township with the left lane blocked. And we have a crash on the Turnpike northbound entrance, the interchange 11 ramp, Garden State Parkway and Woodbridge with the left shoulder blocked. New Jersey Turnpike, we have a crash on the Pennsylvania extension eastbound west of the Turnpike south in Mansfield Township with the right shoulder block. That's a mouthful right there, if you could follow that. And we have emergency construction, I-80, both directions. Again, ongoing for the sinkhole repair. This is, what is this? What is the median of Berkshire Valley? All right, so this is, again, near the ongoing, all headed to 80. So this is the mess that the construction for the sinkhole repair is causing throughout Wharton and all the towns around it as people try to get around the I-80 ongoing construction. That's going to be the next few weeks at least. It is now 7:54. So when will the sinkhole repairs on I-80 finally be completed? Well, in spite of satellite, electric current, and seismic technologies, it is still a major problem to uncover all of the old mines under the surface of the roadway. What's the point of reopening the roadway only to potentially have more sinkholes? So they're trying to fix it once and for all. DOT officials are facing these problems as they try to repair 3 voids that appeared on Route 80 in February and March, and they're big ones, 40, 50 feet around. And that caused the closure of the roadway by exit 34, as we've been talking about. They need to fill all of those voids fully, and some of them go down 30, 40, 50 feet. And that's the only way you can prevent future sinkholes. You can't just put a veneer on top. The sinkholes cause traffic to be rerouted, as we've been showing you, along the local roads, including Route 15, causing massive delays and tons of local traffic. DOT officials don't have accurate maps of where the oldest abandoned mines and vertical shafts are located throughout the state. Many companies went out of business, so they couldn't commission somebody to make the maps back in the 1800s. So they just shut up, close up shop, and any garbage in the area is what they fill the holes with. So some of these opened in the 18th century, so late 1700s. There are 10 separate mines with entrances thought to be located within a few hundred feet of I-80, where it meets Route 15. The Jones Road wildfire continues burning into its 7th day. However, Ocean County roadways are now reopened. As of Sunday, over 15,000 acres had burned, and the fire is now 65% contained. Officials say 19-year-old Joseph Kling of Weirtown was charged with arson for allegedly improperly extinguishing a bonfire, which may have led to one of New Jersey's worst wildfires. 7:56. Imagine waiting for a healthy check to be sent to you in the mail, only to find out it's not coming. It was stolen. 2 people reported their mailed checks totaling more than $23,000 were stolen from a mailbox. Get this. The mailbox was right in front of the Glen Rock post office on Monday. It wasn't just some obscure mailbox in some side street. It was right smack in front of the post office. The checks have been placed inside the box back in January and February, but they only officially got reported missing in the last week. Officials say there may have been other mailbox thefts in the Glen Rock area in recent months. So beware, if you're waiting for a check or something important, that might have happened. Firefighters are trying to control a fire at a 15-acre mulch recycling facility in Camden County, which led to the evacuation of 50 homes Sunday afternoon. Officials say the fire is at the Wade Salvage and Mulch facility in the Atco section of Waterford. It broke out late Sunday afternoon. The blaze expanded into a field outside the facility because of Sunday's high winds. The good news is nobody got hurt. It is 7:57. Now that Pope Francis has been laid to rest, the Cardinals have set May 7th as the start date for the conclave to elect his successor. They delayed the start by an additional 2 days so many of the newer Cardinals could fly in and get to know each other. Many of them have never met, and this way they can make their decision when they are sequestered in the Sistine Chapel. Only the 135 Cardinals who are 80 or under will be allowed to vote on the next pontiff. Some are as old as 99, by the way. They do not get to vote. They get to function as cardinals if the Pope so chooses, because many of them are forced to retire by 80. If the Pope allows them to continue, they can continue functioning, but they cannot vote if they are above the age of 80. 7:58. The suspect who was arrested over the weekend in the theft of Secretary Kristi Noem's purse is in the country illegally. Officials say a second suspect who also is in the country illegally is being sought by law enforcement. It's not believed the unnamed suspect was targeting Noem because she is the Department of Homeland Security secretary, but rather the person saw her as a victim of opportunity. She simply had an expensive looking purse, and he said, "Boy, I bet you there's a lot of good stuff in there." There was. The suspect was or has likely earned himself a one-way ticket to that El Salvador mega prison. Immigration and Customs Enforcement is now involved, ICE. The question still remains, how did anybody get close enough to the nation's most powerful law enforcement leader while she was surrounded by a dozen Secret Service agents? 7:59. Russia's President Vladimir Putin has ordered a 3-day ceasefire in his country's war in Ukraine from May 8th to the 10th, coinciding with Moscow's World War II Victory Day commemorations. Ukraine quickly accused Putin's forces, now more than 3 years into their full-scale invasion, of violating the last ceasefire that Putin declared, which was Easter Sunday. And here's an example of what can be accomplished when you aren't in a sanctuary city or state and local law enforcement cooperates with the feds. In a groundbreaking joint effort, ICE Miami and local Florida police arrested nearly 800 illegals during the first 4 days of Operation Tidal Wave, a massive multi-agency immigration enforcement crackdown. Now, what you're looking at here is the White House law, and we'll explain the connection. Among those arrested, a convicted Colombian murderer, alleged MS-13 and 18th Street gang members, and a Russian with Interpol notice for manslaughter. And yesterday, to commemorate the first 100 days of the successes of kicking out criminal illegals, the Trump administration posted all those pictures on the White House lawn so that people doing live shots for various networks who normally don't talk about all the criminal illegals will be forced to make reference to all those posters around them. You know how one wacky image online can go viral in minutes? You got to take a look at this guy. We'll wait. You have to. Sorry to throw that at you, Pam. That guy is called Crooked Man. Yep, he's 19, otherwise normal, in good shape and handsome, but he decided to try something weird to shame men online who arrogantly display themselves and their perfect bodies for self-promotion. This man goes by the name Crooked Man and works out only on one side of his body to see how lopsided he can become on purpose. Please don't try this at home. Many medical reasons why you shouldn't. His goal to become as asymmetrical as possible. He documents his lopsided progress, focusing on his left trapezius muscle. The teen calls himself the internet's first ever looks minimizer. Ever since launching his social media accounts October of 2023, the 19-year-old has been regularly posting his workouts, isolated to just his left trapezius muscle, commenting on his growth and his lopsided appearance that it has given him. But he does this on purpose. Not a good idea to try this at home. It is 8:01. When we come back, what impact has the Jones Road wildfire had on the health of New Jersey residents? We'll speak with a doctor who knows. Plus, we'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Sunny today, mid-80s for a high. The full Garden State forecast in a moment. You're watching On New Jersey Mornings, and we're coming right back. Good morning, it's 8:02, Tuesday, April 29th, 2025. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Lots of sun today, dry too. Highs in the low to mid-80s. We head straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with our first check of the hour with the Garden State forecast. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, Ken, good morning to you. We've warmed up nicely in the last hour, now climbing into the upper 50s and low 60s momentarily across New Jersey. So with a 55-degree start in Toms River, same for you in Morristown. Feels great. And the air stays dry today. A little bit of a southerly breeze may pump in a little more humidity towards southern New Jersey, but it's comfortably cool as of now over across the state. So with those wind gusts upwards of, say 15, 20 miles per hour, you'll notice a bit more of a breeze this afternoon as compared to yesterday, with those winds potentially topping 30 miles per hour there on LBI. It stays dry through this afternoon and a little breezier than yesterday, but overall pleasant, with temperatures that stay clear in through this. Stay cool into this evening. The clear sky sticks around through the overnight and brings back another round of sunshine tomorrow. But it's a cool front that slides in, dropping our temperatures by about 10 or 15 degrees into tomorrow, making it that much more pleasant by tomorrow afternoon. No clouds on the satellite right now, but I think by this evening, especially in northern New Jersey, we see some clouds enter the picture after climbing into the low and mid 80s today. A beautiful afternoon ahead. But again, you can see a lot of those winds coming in from the south, keeping places like Ship Bottom down toward LBI and Love Ladies much, much cooler. Same for you in Atlantic City. With that wind off of a 55-degree Atlantic, yeah, it'll obviously be cooler at the coast, but inland stays nice and mild. Tonight, with a quick round of clouds, maybe a sprinkle only in northwestern New Jersey. A lot of that shower activity dies out before it reaches, say, the metro area. We stay clear in through tonight. So tomorrow morning is dry and a little bit cooler, but highs tomorrow struggle to get beyond the upper 60s. It'll feel quite cool even through the afternoon. Throughout Friday, I think that's where the rain returns, especially in the afternoon hours, with a warm front first bringing in the clouds and then some very mild weather. So early on in the morning, might have a few rogue sprinkles around, but eventually we get a mix of clouds and sun throughout the day. The humidity will be noticeably higher by Friday afternoon, and with that, in combination with some sun, could see highs up near 90 over in Newark and places like Camden and Trenton before the clouds come in with a round of showers and storms that take over Friday evening. It hasn't yet materialized here on the forecast map because the high resolution data isn't ready until tomorrow morning. But I think you'll see a pretty discrete line of storms come through by the end of the day Friday. Finishing off the day on a slightly cooler and less humid note, I think we've got some early morning showers on Saturday, but the weekend is not a wash. There's a lot of sun forecast ahead for Saturday afternoon and Sunday. We'll tell you all about it, tell you how warm it gets. That's coming up with the 7-day weather, Ken, in just a few minutes.
All right, Mike, thank you very, very much. We appreciate that very pretty looking forecast. It is now 47 degrees in my throes of northern New Jersey, away from the warmer areas that Mike was just talking about by the more urban centers. We're about always 4 to 7 degrees cooler where I am here. 8:05 is our time, and we have some traffic to talk about. Let's take a look at this one traffic cam. So this is the Garden State Parkway, mile marker 142.8, exit 142. What you're looking at on the left side of your screen, the kind of upper left corner, those 3 or 4 lanes of traffic, very slow right now. That's in the area of Maplewood, but you could also get off there to backtrack it to I-78 by Hillside. So that's causing, you could see some really heavy volume problems right now. That is not an accident, simply volume. We have a disabled vehicle also on the Garden State Parkway southbound north of the Driscoll Bridge in Woodbridge Township, where right lane is blocked. A crash on US 9 southbound south of Edison Bridge in Sayreville with a left lane closed right now. A crash on Route 29 northbound north of 295 in Hamilton Township, a left lane closed with a 10-minute delay. Disabled vehicle, Garden State Parkway northbound south of exit 137, which is Route 28 in Cranford Township with the right shoulder blocked. And again, on the Garden State Parkway, we have here a crash on the southbound side just north of exit 136, not far from what we were just showing you, actually, about 4 miles, 3 miles. This is Stiles Street in Cranford Township. One left lane is blocked. And a crash on the Turnpike northbound entrance ramp, interchange 11 by the Garden State Parkway, Woodbridge Township. Left shoulder is blocked. We have a crash on the Turnpike Pennsylvania extension, eastbound west of the Turnpike south in Mansfield Township with the right shoulder block, and the ongoing sinkhole repair, which is going on I-80 east and westbound by exit 34, Route 15 in Wharton. You can see Route 15. 15 is stopped on the other side, which is to the right. On the left side, you can see that it is moving, but if you look on the right, it is absolutely stopped right now because of all those vehicles using it as an alternate route. 8:07 right now, and the Jones Road wildfire in southern New Jersey has scorched over 23,000 acres and it forced thousands of people to evacuate. What is the impact of fires like this on your public health, breathing all that particulate matter? Joining us is Dr. Alice Chen, who is the founder and former executive director of Doctors for America and a leading voice in health advocacy. Thank you so much for being here, Dr. Chen. Good to have you on this morning.
Thanks for having me, Ken.
You bet, Doctor. Doctor, the Jones Road wildfire has filled the air with thick smoke across South Jersey. And depending on the wind flows, even I'm in northern New Jersey in Morris County. There was one day when I could smell, it would smell like burning fireplaces throughout the neighborhood. So the particulate matter made its way about 100 plus miles to me. Can you explain the immediate health risks that this can pose, especially for people who are vulnerable, like children, the elderly, or those with asthma or pre-existing conditions, COPD and the like?
Sure. So in the immediacy of a wildfire, so the health impacts are largely anything that touches the air. So that's your lungs, your sinuses, your eyes, your skin, and people who are certainly people who are young, people who are elderly, people who have underlying conditions like chronic COPD or who have asthma, people who have heart disease are all at higher risk of having breathing issues. And then people can have sinus, like a sinusitis. You can have irritation to your eyes. You can have a skin rash. These are all things that happen in the immediate time that you're exposed to the wildfire. The good news is that for most people who are healthy, you're irritated. You might be a little wheezy for a couple of days, but largely the impacts kind of go out of your system after a couple of days.
Doctor, I know that during the pandemic, there was a lot of controversy, of course, about wearing a facial covering and whether or not it stops a virus. And I guess the real reason for the facial covering was more so that if you sneeze, you don't spray out particulate matter and viruses in the air as much. Most of it would get trapped by the mask, and a lot of people just disregarded that aspect of it. But in the case of particulate matter like this, would a facial mask not help trap a lot of the carbon in the air, the flecks of pollution in the air from a wildfire? So if you have lung issues and you have breathing problems and you can smell that smoke, would this not help?
Yes. So if you're indoors, the best thing is to be indoors, close your windows, don't have the air conditioner that's in your window, don't turn that on. If it's warm out, just turn on your fan, and turn on a HEPA filter if you have one. If you don't, you can kind of jerry rig a box fan with an air filter. You just duct tape it together and it actually works pretty well to clean your
Hmm.
air. If you're going to go out, having a high quality mask, any mask is better than nothing, but certainly having an N95 or a KN95, the same one that keeps viruses out or viruses in, that also keeps all those particles out and can help prevent you from having breathing issues. So having a mask
Yeah,
is really important. Whatever you can do to clean the air that is around you is important to do.
right. Anything to keep that particulate matter from getting in your sticky lung sacs and then having to cough it up later, right? And any of that would help. And
Exactly.
just
And
want
if
to let
you're
everybody know.
indoors, if
Mhm.
you're indoors, don't put on your fireplace. If you have a gas stove, try not to eat a salad tonight. Don't turn on
Right.
the gas range. Don't light candles. Kind of common sense things not to pollute your indoor air as well.
You don't want to compound the already existing problem, right? Let's make it worse. Let's give us no place to breathe clean air, right? Yeah, great idea, actually. And we've seen some reports. Yeah, it's that it's. I know it sounds silly, but most of us, you probably wouldn't give it that second thought if you're in your home and you just kind of, oh yeah, let's just burn some candles. We like the scent, but burning candles inside, when you see little black wafts of smoke coming off the top of it, especially as the wick gets dirty, that's pollution. And even the wax itself is putting off some air pollution in your home. So that's not it makes a nice scent, but you could do stuff that doesn't require burning. We've seen
Exactly.
reports of worsening air quality in toward the south, Philadelphia and South Jersey, due to the fire smoke. How can prolonged exposure to wildfire smoke impact your long-term health? We're talking about for the short term now, but in
Mhm.
terms of how it will impact you, especially if you're young or very old, for the long haul.
Well, certainly in the less long haul, but in the first week or two after there's a wildfire or with ongoing exposure to wildfire, we do see some increase in people having heart attacks and strokes and having complications of asthma and COPD. So those are things to just keep an extra eye out on and to be a little extra cautious about calling your doctor or going to the ER if you need to. In the long term, we honestly don't have a whole lot of information because the increase of wildfires has been relatively recent with increasing
Mhm.
drought and hotter temperatures. So we don't have a great amount of detail. There is one very small study that they did of wildfire firefighters that showed who are young, healthy, robust people that did not show that there are long term health effects. But that was a very tiny study of 1 unit, so we still don't have great information.
Good deal. And the Jones Road fire, of course, has displaced thousands and thousands of residents. They're all allowed to go back home now, but that causes so much stress because they didn't know when they left if they would have a home to come back to, like many people in Southern California. They all thought they were coming home in a day or two, and many lost their homes and all their possessions, all their memories. Well, from a public health perspective, how do the mental health effects of such disasters compound the physical health challenges?
Well, certainly if you've lost your home for sure, but even if you've been evacuated, that can cause long-term mental health impacts, not for everybody, but certainly for a subset of people. And it's hard to know who exactly it's going to affect. But certainly, one of the things that we found is really protective against having mental health impacts is when the community comes around and people feel like they have someone who's supporting them. And that means if you know people who are in the area and who are maybe a little bit more vulnerable or really just friends in the area, giving them a call, checking in on them can make people just feel like they're a little bit less alone. And not only now, but into the future, because, if you've evacuated your home and now you're back in that home and you're still in the forest, it can be stressful. And so really making sure we're wrapping our arms around people who have been affected is really, really important. But certainly looking out for those mental health effects of depression and anxiety a year, 2 years, even 10 years into the future, that's certainly something that can happen with wildfires.
And we tend to be reactionary more than anything else. So what steps should public health officials take right now to prepare for any future events like the Jones Road fire?
So, because wildfires are becoming more frequent all over the country, and even if it's not a fire in Jersey, the Canadian wildfires, all the other wildfires that can happen, I think it's really important for people to get the message out there to be prepared that you should have masks on hand, that you should have, if you have, medications, you should have a go bag. Or if you have young children, if you have any reason to need to evacuate, that evacuating would be more stressful than your average person, making sure you have a go bag, making sure you have emergency numbers. If you are somebody who relies on electricity, like you have supplemental oxygen that you rely on in your home, that the emergency services in your county knows who you are, so they can evacuate you more quickly. I think those are all really important. And then really just having a robust public health infrastructure so that there are people who are experts at taking care of these sorts of public health emergencies, whether it's a wildfire, other natural disasters, or a virus, or what have you. Having that robust infrastructure so that people already know who are their public health officials, how can they get help. I think that's also really, really important.
Yeah, and a friend of mine who used to live in Los Angeles for one of the
Mhm.
last fires, he decided to move out. But what he said was, take a minute, take a weekend, and take all your prized possessions that are like photographic, take them all, upload them to the cloud, so that if physically printed pictures are there and they burn up, you can reproduce them, so you don't lose your memories. Literally, for the small cost of uploading everything. They even have digital services. For $100, you could send everything to them and they'll
Mm.
digitize everything. That way you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to run in and save. If you want to certainly save your animals. Yes, I'm with that. But have a plan, have a place to take your pets if you have that, right? A crisis, if you live in a fire zone. But I think too many people don't think it's going to happen to them, and they feel, oh, I have nothing to worry about until they do. But founder and former executive director of Doctors for America, Dr. Alice Chen, we'd love to have you on again. What great information. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We appreciate you.
Thanks so much for having you.
You bet, doctor. Have a good day. It is 8:17 now, 47 degrees. It's going to be sunny, highs in the low to mid 80s. Meteorologist Mike Favetta returns with your full Garden State forecast. And we'll take your calls, 888-658-0234. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings. Don't go away. It's 8:18. Welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato, taking your calls at 888-658-0234, 888-658-0234. Sunny today, highs in the low to mid 80s. Straight to meteorologist Mike Favetta with another check of the Garden State forecast. Nice and dry, Mike.
Nice and dry and a little breezy this afternoon, but that'll make for a very pleasant feel. No matter where you find yourself in New Jersey, cooler at the coast, but still sunny, and milder inland. For instance, in Long Branch, your high today only climbs up to 68 degrees. It'll feel a little bit milder back down toward Toms River, but inland, places like Matawan and over toward Freehold, even back by Fort Dix and Trenton, mid 80s this afternoon, well above average. And we keep it sunny through the end of the day with a few clouds this evening, but beyond that, pollen pollen remains the problem for the trees specifically, back up to the high levels, and grass is on the rise as well. They're rising to moderate. Weeds and molds remain low as we're not quite in that season just yet. And if you want to enjoy the outdoors today, be sure to bring along the sunscreen, because for the first time this year, UV index is at an 8, which is very high on the scale. So it only gets better from here with our solstice arriving, summer solstice, on June 21st. Plenty of clear sky around through this afternoon, with nothing more than some clouds off to our west that arrive tonight. Again, I think we're dry and sunny through the rest of the day today, but you'll notice the winds really pick up, and you can see a lot of those breezes here showing up on the map, allowing for temperatures to cool off tonight with that wind shift in the front, providing tomorrow slightly cooler. We lose about 10 degrees, but it's still going to feel fantastic, more like spring should, especially on the last day of April, with mild weather around through Thursday. And then Friday comes around and we have more clouds with a warm front that moves in. Could bring in a few more sprinkles, but it's the humidity rise that you'll notice, bringing back very warm weather by the afternoon. So Friday, by the end of the day, could reach the upper 80s, maybe flirt with 90 degrees in spots, 87 there in Camden, 89 in Trenton. Very mild, and then a round of little storms comes in by the end of the day, promoting some cooler weather by Saturday, but it also keeps some rain in the forecast for early Saturday morning. So that's probably the only rain we see this weekend, because even that clears out by the afternoon, bringing back gorgeous sunny weather for Sunday and staying clear through Monday as well. A very pretty forecast ahead with that dry and unseasonably warm weather going through the next several days. Speaking of, this weekend stays pleasant. Again, Saturday has that rain, specifically in the morning. Should see some clearing by the afternoon, but Sunday's very dry, 68 degrees. Looks beautiful by the end of the weekend and stays nice for the first part of next week. So a little taste of summer around here, Ken, with some upper 80s today, and by the end of the week, a little humidity. Looks nice to start off May.
You kissing up to everybody with that nice forecast, Mike.
I'm
Yeah, I
trying.
know.
I'm
I
trying.
know what it is. Yeah, you want like a little something special in the paycheck this week. Not that I have any control over it, but anyway, I appreciate it, Mike, and it sounds beautiful, sir. It's always nice to have that image of Mike Favetta, perfect weather. I like that.
Oh,
It's a nice juxtapositioning, sir. All right, we'll check back in just a little bit, Mike. It is 47 degrees right now, and we do have some traffic to talk about that's not so pretty. So let's go to it if we can right now. This is mile marker 142.8. Pam and I were talking about this. Look at this mess in both directions. So this again is down by Maplewood, Hillside, Irvington, in that sort of in that area, by I-78 as well. You can get to I-78 and into Newark Airport. So you have a lot of traffic. The people going bottom to top, they would be headed toward Newark Airport. So my thought is there's a lot of folks headed that way at this hour of the morning. And this is an ongoing issue this week. I think a lot of people still trying to get out of Dodge. And so they are driving to the airport, which is what a lot of people do, and they're hitting a lot of traffic. We have other traffic to talk about too. A crash on the Turnpike exit ramp to I-278 Goethals Bridge from interchange 13 in Elizabeth. All lanes are open, but there's a vehicle now on the right shoulder causing rubbernecking. Crash on the Turnpike exit ramp to 278 Route 1 and 9 from interchange 13 to or in Elizabeth with a left lane block. And a disabled vehicle on the GSB southbound north of the Driscoll Bridge and Woodbridge, one right lane block. Crash on Route 9 southbound, south of Edison Bridge in Sayreville with a left lane closed. And we have a disabled vehicle on the Garden State Parkway northbound south of 137, which is Route 28 in Cranford Township with the right shoulder block. Take a look at this approach to the GWB right now. Both the this is the 8095, both upper and lower level approaches. The lower level on the left side of your screen, the upper level on the right, and no matter which, you can see you have an absolute mess of traffic heading in. You're talking about a 50 to 55-minute crossing time right now going into Manhattan. We also have a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike by interchange 11 northbound entrance ramp. This is by the Garden State Parkway in Woodbridge with the left shoulder block. Crash on the New Jersey Turnpike Pennsylvania extension eastbound west of the New Jersey Turnpike south in Mansfield Township with the right shoulder block. And wow, there's a lot of traffic today. We have the ongoing sinkhole repair I-80 by exit 34, Route 15 east and west. You could see Route 15 right there is the detail in in Wharton, and this is ongoing. It's going to be going on for the next couple of weeks before you get anything reopened. It'll just be 1 to 2 lanes westbound first, and then a week or two later, you'll have 1 to 2 lanes eastbound. It's going to be about July before things get back to normal, we hope, on I-80 through that area. 8:24 right now. Did deciding to go green force Spain and Portugal into a massive blackout? Well, grid operators in the Iberian Peninsula cannot say for sure, but one thing is for certain. They never had widespread unexplained blackouts before they started to switch to a green-centered power grid. Power officials also say they are certain the blackouts were not the result of a cyber attack, instead saying it looks like the massive outage is the result of, quote, a very large oscillation in the electrical voltages, first in the Spanish system, which then spread to the Portuguese system. They're all right next to each other. As of this morning, millions of customers there remain without power with no end in sight. 8:25, Philadelphia Eagles star running back Saquon Barkley was seen spending time with President Trump a day before the team's scheduled visit to the White House to celebrate their recent Super Bowl victory. Trump is expected to host the Eagles at the White House Monday after beating the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. This past Sunday, Barkley and Trump were seen getting off Marine One in New Jersey, with the pair chatting as they disembarked. After strengthening laws against self-driving vehicles for private cars, or I should say features for self-driving private cars, Chinese officials have done just the opposite for self-driving electric minibuses in some parts of China. The country started investing in the technology over 5 years ago. Look at that, no driver, it's all computerized, kind of freaky. The country started investing in that technology only for use in public transit, however. The automated buses are currently running in a number of small to mid-sized Chinese cities. Question is, would you get on a self-driving bus all by your lonesome like that? I don't know. 8:26, purse snatching and pocket picking is as old on the streets of Rome as the Colosseum. But check this out, as this old one woman was not having it. So this guy thought, oh, unsuspecting, frail girl, a woman with a purse, I'll get that purse. Not so fast. She knows how to kick ass, and she did right there. So in Italy and many countries throughout Europe, they're having problems right now with an enormous influx of mostly illegal migrants, predominantly from Muslim countries. The populations of these European countries were decreasing, so they opened the doors and let a lot of people from Muslim countries come in, both legally and illegally. The problem is they've entered the European nations so quickly and in such large numbers that they haven't been able to integrate and get jobs. So many have had to resort to robbery in order to eat. So amazingly, this woman was able to teach her would-be robber a lesson. You come to my country, try to rob, this is what's going to happen to you. Don't do it again. There you go. Little vigilanteism, street justice. Got it. I just got it. I'm sorry. I'm enjoying watching that. 8:27, there are several national and regional days set aside for America's indigenous peoples. In fact, even the entire month of November honors indigenous peoples in the U.S., and they very much deserve to be honored. They should be. But there is only one day set aside to honor the contributions of Italian Americans, now nearly 20 million strong here, one of the largest ethnic groups in the U.S. That day is Columbus Day. And we didn't pick Columbus Day. I speak as an Italian American. It was picked by President Harris. He was the one who decided to honor Christopher Columbus and name the day in honor of Italian Americans. It wasn't Italian Americans who insisted on having Christopher Columbus as their representative. Well, enter the liberals who have been working to end Columbus Day for decades now without ever saying, well, why don't we replace it with another day to honor Italian Americans? No, they just wanted to remove the day from Italian American culture. Most recently, they've added an extra day called Indigenous Peoples Day on the same day that is Columbus Day, on purpose to squash Columbus Day on the second Monday of October, so that you would honor Indigenous peoples and forget about Christopher Columbus and his contributions and the contribution of Italian Americans to the New World. And you could say, oh, but Ken, Christopher Columbus was so evil, he enslaved the domestic people and blah, blah, blah. I could debate you under the table with history on that. A lot of what has been taught it simply does not hold up to scrutiny and to the records that we have. So before you say that he was this evil slave owner, take a deep breath, because then you'd have to, by the way, remove George Washington, Benjamin Franklin, and all the other people who owned slaves. And by the way, most Native Americans had slaves too. When they would conquer other Native Americans, they would take them as slaves. So do you not honor Native Americans? Just saying. So President Trump on Sunday added some weight to Columbus Day, remaining a federal holiday. He posted on Truth Social what you see on your screen right there. Thank you, Pam. Quote, I'm bringing Columbus Day back from the ashes. The Democrats did everything possible to destroy Christopher Columbus, his reputation, and all of the Italians who love him so much. They tore down his statues and put up nothing but woke, or even worse, nothing at all. Here's a question. There's a lot that could be said. I revere Martin Luther King Jr. The Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. is a great man. Is he perfect? No. If you were to pick all the things that are not perfect about Martin Luther King, do we tear down his statues? Do we rename all the MLK Jr. boulevards? I bet you try that, the Black community would have your head on a platter, and rightfully so. So let's not remove somebody's folk heroes or cultural heroes. The reason I talk about Martin Luther King was a Baptist minister, an ordained Baptist minister. The teachings of the Baptist church then, just like the Catholic Church, were to be anti-gay. So they were anti-LGBT. I'm a gay man. Should I demand that Martin Luther King not be honored because he was, by definition, as an ordained Baptist minister in the 60s, he would be against gay marriage? So shouldn't I go demand that all his statues be torn down? See where it goes if you let it go to the next level? Before you demand statues be torn down and go out there with pitchforks, stop and think of the big picture. Nobody was perfect. Nobody was perfect. And what is representative for some in their culture, while you don't have to necessarily revere and honor it, step back, take a deep breath before you go and tear down statues. It is 8:30, and when we come back, are you up on New Jersey's gubernatorial candidates? We're going to speak with the president of Montclair State University on his unique take to get you to know more about them. I love what this man is doing. Plus, I love Montclair State. Great school. Plus, the phone lines are open. We'll take your calls at 888-658-0234. Meteorologist Mike Favetta says sunshine today, highs low to mid 80s. The full Garden State forecast in just a moment. You're watching on New Jersey Mornings, seen daily at ONNJ.com, Roku, Fire TV, news on Samsung TV Plus, Apple TV, YouTube, Facebook, and X. And now stream live on Rumble and Twitch at twitch.tv/OnNewJersey. We'll be right back. Morning. It is Tuesday, April 29th, 2025, 46 degrees at 8:32. I'm Ken Rosato, and welcome back to On New Jersey Mornings. Lots of sunshine today, highs in the low to mid 80s, but humidity levels will be kept at bay. Meteorologist Mike Favetta with the detailed Garden State forecast. Good morning once again, my friend.
Ken, I have an update for you. I'm getting some comments on the discussion we had. You promoted a little bit of a Sinkhole de Mayo merch for the sinkhole along Route 80 in Wharton, and the locals have kind of taken it on themselves. Somebody I grew up nearby there, was saying how there is kind of these memes that are going around among the locals, and they're kind of on the next step of, yeah, maybe merch is the right thing to do because it seems endless up in that section of New Jersey. So you're onto something.
Look, the local businesses there have been suffering, so why not make a buck on it while they can, right? Just take some dirt from your backyard and fraudulently say, I didn't tell you to do that. Fraudulently say, this is genuine sinkhole repair soil. When I was a kid, we would go down to Florida and they used to sell in all the gift shops genuinely canned Florida sunshine. It was a can of air. And the label had a sunshine on it. And, it was like $20 for a can back then of genuine Florida sunshine. And it said, if you're up north in the cold, just open up the can, take a deep breath, and immediately have some Florida sunshine. So why not do the same thing? If you long for the days of sinkholes, there you go. You'll have your jar of soil.
It is a very Jersey thing, although it's like a rite of passage to sit in hours of traffic, whether it be on the Parkway, going down the shore, or whether it be out going to the Poconos on Route 80, or just trying to get home.
Exactly.
Just trying to get home one day. My record leaving the city coming home was 3 hours and 58 minutes. It was almost 4 hours because the tanker truck on the upper level of the GW slammed into another one, of the fuel spill dripped onto the lower, so whole bridge closed.
I remember
Mike's not getting
that.
home. Yeah.
I actually
it was awful. It was
It was
awful. And I had a
horrible.
stick
I
shift
was a
too, so
Channel
my
7.
thigh was killing me by the end of the day. Anyway,
Oh,
back
yes.
in the day, but now we work from home. Thanks, COVID, right? All good things. Yeah. So let's get to your forecast today. We've got a really pretty day ahead. If you want to get out and enjoy a pretty feeling today, today's your day to do it because with highs that'll be climbing well up into the 80s, beautiful afternoon sunshine. It does turn a little bit cooler tomorrow thanks to a weak front that passes by tonight. And then we have near 90 degrees by Friday with humidity building that helps to fuel some thunderstorms by the end of the day. So with highs today, that'll feel very pleasant. Even at the coast, it'll be a little bit cooler and breezy. You might need the sweatshirt or hoodie walking there on the boardwalk toward Ventnor and Avalon, even down toward Cape May. Inland temperatures climb well into the 80s, not making the record of 90, set back in 90, but it'll still stay clear through this afternoon. So some high thin clouds now departing, so we are full on sunshine from this point forward and dry. No rain chances, at least until we get to Friday and Saturday. You see that rain chance went up for Saturday. It's really later Saturday night into early Saturday morning, but I think Saturday afternoon clears out nicely. Little chance of a sprinkle later on tonight in northern New Jersey with that weak front passing through, but it's really the northwestern corner of the state. 2 small fires being picked up here on the satellite picture. Again, these are known, and I think overall will stay clear through this afternoon as some wildfire smoke from outside of New Jersey actually gets some northern counties here, the way those winds are blowing and dropping your air quality just a little bit. Through the end of the day, the high pressure remains in control with the clear sky that exits, giving us a few clouds with that front only lasts a few hours tonight. And then we're back to sunshine again tomorrow. Warmer weather moves in with a few showers for Friday. And with that, I think the front that lingers throughout Friday night into Saturday kind of gets held up and stuck there. Must be taking Route 80. And overall gives us a little bit more of a shower threat for Saturday morning. That's why the icon changed here for Saturday. But again, I think Saturday afternoon turns drier as temperatures climb back into the low 70s. Sunday's a beautiful day regardless. Nice and clear. Sunshine takes over for the second half of the weekend for all of New Jersey. You'll notice it's a little bit cooler, however, down toward the shore, not just today, but also a little bit more tomorrow. Northwesterly winds tomorrow actually prevent the sea breeze from happening, which is why we're in the 60s today at the shore, jump to 75 tomorrow, and then we're back in the 60s again for Thursday because the sea breeze is back for Thursday afternoon. So you had a little bit of a local shoreline meteorology for you. Saturday has a little bit of that rain activity, predominantly in the morning, but maybe lingering into the early afternoon because it takes a while for that front to sag south to past the beaches. And then by Sunday, we're back to sunshine and 66 degrees to start off next week. Nice way to kick off the first weekend in May, Ken.
I love it. And it's my birthday week too, by the way. So we will have to celebrate with
So
on
next
that
week is your
beautiful day.
birthday?
May 4th.
May
May the 4th be
4th.
with you.
Ah
Yes.
ha ha
Yeah, I
ha
get it.
ha.
I get it my whole life.
Got
And
a
it's right
big
before
birthday
Cinco de Mayo
celebration.
or Cinco de Mayo.
Oh, Sinkhole de Mayo. Right. Well, I'll kick off the birthday celebrations. Mine is tomorrow. So last day in my 30s.
Look at
Mm-hmm.
you. Well, happy
And then
birthday.
we'll
Yes, we
just
will celebrate tomorrow.
we'll get on into yours for next week. So that'll be fun.
Deal. So does that make you a Taurus?
Yes. As
See, I knew I
hard-headed as
loved
they
Mike
come.
Favetta. That's it. But loyal as they can be and very romantic with the other half, if you know what I mean.
Ha ha.
So that's a good thing. All right, sir. That's why you got a baby. Uh, Thank you very much, Mike. All right. I love that. I love Mike Favetta. That's like the reason 4,228 why I adore Mike Favetta. We'll check back with you in a little bit, birthday boy almost. Thank you very much. It
You
is
bet.
now 47 degrees and we have 8:38 as our time. We also have some traffic to talk about. So let's take a look at this. This is in the area of I-280 East Orange. You're looking at Garden State Parkway, mile marker 145.8 north of exit 144. And you could look at volume delays right now. This is all, again, going into its Vailsburg, Irvington, East Orange, right near I-280. But again, you're on the Garden State Parkway, and that's only going about 10 to 15 miles an hour throughout that area. Again, all caused by volume. We also have problems to report with a crash on the New Jersey Turnpike exit ramp to 278, the Goethals Bridge exit from interchange 13 in Elizabeth. All lanes are open, but the vehicle's on the right shoulder, and that's causing rubbernecking. We have a crash on the Turnpike exit ramp to Route 1 and 9 from interchange 13 and Elizabeth with a left lane blocked. Crash on the Turnpike Pennsylvania extension eastbound just west of the Turnpike south in Mansfield Township with the right shoulder blocked. And we have this approach, real slow approach, I-8095 approach, upper and lower level GWB. Left side is the lower level, right side upper. Right now it's about a 45-minute trip into Manhattan, as you can see right there. And finally, we have emergency construction still on I-80 east and west at exit 34, Route 15, and that is in Wharton. That's causing, of course, many, many problems as people try to make their way around that area. So give yourselves lots of extra travel time. 8:39 is our time right now as New Jersey gears up for the 2025 gubernatorial election. Montclair State University President Jonathan Capel is serving up a fresh take on getting to know the candidates in his unique TV series called Cooking with Capel, Candidates Edition. Capel joins major competitors and contenders in the kitchen to cook dishes that reflect their roots, their family traditions, and ties to the Garden State, all while discussing their vision for New Jersey's future. It's all taped at Montclair State's Loft Studio with student involvement. The series offers a personal look at the candidates beyond the campaign trail. What a great idea. Cooking with Capel airs right here at ONNJ.com. And President Capel joins us now. Dr. Capel, it's so good to have you on. I love what you're doing. What a great way to get down to earth with these people, have conversation, because food makes us comfortable, right? That's why we go out to dinner and lunch with people and have conversation. It breaks down the inhibitions and lets people talk frankly. What a great idea.
Yeah, good morning, Ken. Thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, the show is a lot of fun, first of all, to make. And let me underscore, students and alumni, the entire crew of Cooking with Copel. It really shows off the talent that we are cultivating and producing, who are ready to get jobs and make stuff happen, including this show, which I'm excited that you liked it and think that it's adding something to the political landscape of New Jersey.
I love Montclair State. I used to live in North Caldwell, right next door. And that college, that was the little college that could 15 years ago. It has become enormous and beautiful. And it's such a great school, and still, keep it our little secret, a great bargain for students who want to get a phenomenal education right in the shadows of New York City. Great arts programs. You just offer so much at Montclair State. It's such a
It is a
perfect
hidden
area.
gem. I got to tell you, I'm not eager to keep it a hidden gem, to be honest. People don't realize we're the second biggest university in New Jersey, nearly 25,000 students, and highly regarded nationally, particularly because of our student success. Right? We're one of the top universities in terms of graduation rate, recognized as number 12 in the country in terms of social mobility, because students who come, regardless of their background, their income, their family history, they're successful at Montclair, both in school, and then they graduate and get jobs and do well in the community. So let's not have it be our little secret, Ken. Let's let people in on it.
Good deal. I figured, you know what? Let's let it grow at its own pace, but it has. It's gone from small to enormous in a matter of years, and you can only do that if you're really good at what you do. And specifically, I'm focusing on the arts and whatnot, like cooking too. So let's talk more about your Cooking with Capel, the Candidates Edition. It's such a creative way to engage voters. So where'd you get the idea, and how did you get the candidates to take part?
So we started this actually a while ago as an on-campus getting to know you tool. Exactly as you said, food brings people together. You can always talk about food. Maybe the sinkhole is a little bit more attractive as a conversation topic these days, but in New Jersey, everybody has their favorite diner, everybody has their favorite dish, everybody has their favorite pizza place or their favorite bagel. We like talking about food. And so we started doing this on campus where students, faculty, and staff would teach me how to make a dish that spoke to their family history, right? We've got a lot of people from all over the world, a lot of Italians, as you pointed out, but really people from every corner of the globe. And they teach me how to make their dish, and it's a way of knowing all the great people around campus. And those aren't just people you walk by as you walk on our beautiful leafy green campus, which, by the way, now is the time to visit, exploding with all the trees and flowers in bloom. And so this has been a really great thing on the campus of Montclair. And as the election was approaching, I was thinking about how people can really get to know the candidates as human beings. Like, you can put them up on a debate stage and they'll argue about taxes or they'll argue about education, but you don't really get to know them as people. And so putting them in the kitchen, with them showing me how to make a dish and talking about their family and what it means to them, I think it humanizes the candidates in a totally different way than any other venue that most people have access to.
I think that's just brilliant. Years and years ago, there was a guy on PBS called the Frugal Gourmet. I'm not sure if you
Yeah,
remember him. He was
sure.
he was a
Jeff,
Presbyterian
hold
minister,
on.
right?
Jeff
And
Smith.
yep.
His name was Jeff
Yes,
Smith.
good call, good call. And he was on PBS for a number of years, wrote a bunch of cookbooks. And Jeff Smith, his whole thing was that we can become a closer human family by sitting down over a meal, trying the food of another culture. You learn about the culture that way. How many people will say, "Bleh, try that," and then they taste it and they fall in love with it? It's like, my gosh. And the beauty of like a school like Montclair State is so multicultural. You have people from all over the world there. This is not some little local sleepy suburban school. That is a major school with people represented from everywhere. That's why having the multicultural ties and whatnot is so important and just makes it such an important location. Perfect for what you're doing right now. So have you gotten all of the candidates so far? I know you had Jack Ciattarelli talking about meatballs, right?
We did, and he was really proud of his meatballs. Didn't want anybody else touching the recipe, and we made them, and they were good. I'll attest to it. Yeah, we've have everybody one scheduling conflict. We're missing one. We'll see if that gets fixed. But 8 candidates, all the Republicans, most of the Democrats. So I think it's a real treat for people who want to get to know these individuals who are important for the future of the state. You want to know, well, what makes them tick, not just what are their talking points.
And the most important thing, I think, is it Taylor ham or is it, what else are we going to call it?
But you don't even want to say it out loud, huh?
No, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to deal with my friends here. I'm originally from Westchester County, so I inherited this debate.
Well, they're actually, not surprisingly, the Taylor ham pork roll discussion comes up once or twice on the show. And I will say this: our candidates did not duck the question. They took a position. They didn't try to have it both ways. So you can tune in to see where that comes out. But nobody was trying to have their cake and eat it too, as it were.
I love it. And you had Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill on, who's an awesome lady, just an incredible pedigree. Her background, her military background, intelligence, attorney, just beyond, and just a nice person too.
We did. We made.
And you did.
She called it Eggs Montclair. It looks a lot like Eggs Benedict, but that's her take on it.
She
knows
how to market it.
Good variety of food. Bill Spadia, we made scallops with broccoli rabe, I remember, and Josh Gottheimer made some challah French toast. It was great. Oh, and a lot of the dishes did have a connection. So Sean Spiller, whose mom is from Jamaica, we made Jamaican jerk chicken because that's what's good. That's what's good for him. It was we covered the gamut and had a good time. You learned something. Steve Sweeney says, "You know what I like? I just like a good steak. That's what I am. I'm about a steak."
And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely. Right. Raj Baraka said, "I'm not much of a cook, but I like to eat." So we made fish together. We made some fish together. He's a pescatarian.
Oh, no kidding. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
He's in good shape.
Yeah, so
he's in good shape.
It was
awesome.
Good. There's a different kind of conversation when you're in the kitchen. It's just like when you're at a party and everybody ends up in the kitchen.
Your inhibitions are gone. It's no longer an interview, it's a conversation. And that's it. Because people sit down in a TV studio and they think, well, we'll answer it. No, you need to let the inhibitions down. That's a brilliant way to really insightfully see what this person is about, what they're made of, and learn about the real person. This is brilliant. I love it. And plus, I'm a total foodie, so I'm a junkie on shows like this. Doctor, tell people how and when they could see your show. It's on News 12 Plus. It's on New Jersey. Hawk Plus and YouTube. And when do
Yep,
you
it's easy
come
to
up with a new episode?
it's easy to find, and we've been releasing a new episode every week, going for the next. So about half of them have been released. You've seen some of the clips on the screen while we've been talking, and as I say, we've got a different candidate coming out every week. So it's a good way to build up excitement for the primaries coming up in
Well, have
June.
me on
And
the show. I used to work in restaurants. Have me on there. We'll cook together when this is all over, when the candidates have their time. I'd love to come on and we'll
Okay,
cook
well,
together, Doc.
we can have a. I know you're hosting a debate on New Jersey, so maybe we can have a cook off too at some point when we have the candidates set.
That would be cool if we get one versus the other, and we'll have judges do a double blind and see who wins that, and see if
We'll
who ends up
we'll get
winning the
Gordon
election.
Ramsay on. Yeah.
I love it. Hey, doctor, we can make this happen. You know we can. That's because this is why you're the president of the university. You know this stuff. All right, you're excellent.
Well, it doesn't
Montclair
hurt. It
State.
doesn't hurt that I don't know who's going to win, but I know the future governor spent some time at Montclair State University, taking in everything good that's going on. Look, there's a lot of discussion about higher education. You come to Montclair, you interact with our students, you'll see everything that's right.
Yeah. Well, I
You've got
love it.
students working hard, doing great things, faculty producing. There's a lot to be excited about. There's a lot to be excited about at Montclair, and I'm glad that our future governor got to see it firsthand.
Amen. Montclair State University President Dr. Jonathan Coppell. What a great guy. We'd love to have you on again. Please don't be a stranger. And thank you for being with us this morning. I love what you're doing.
Thank you, Ken.
You bet, doctor. Have a good day. It is 8:50. A quick check now with meteorologist Mike Favetta in the Garden State forecast. And then we have another guest coming up. So let's check out right now what's going on with the Garden State forecast. Mike, good morning, sir.
Good morning, Ken. We've got a beautiful afternoon ahead. Warm weather across northern New Jersey. Temperatures climb into the 80s over toward Newark and Jersey City, even by Hackensack, well above average. Northwestern corner of the state, upper 70s. It's clear throughout the afternoon, but you'll notice some more clouds arrive by the end of the day. Will it bring some much-needed rain up toward the drought-stricken sections of Sussex County? Maybe a sprinkle, but not enough to quell the thirst of the 1 to 2 inch rainfall deficit that still remains there. We're warm through the next 2 weeks. The long-range temperature outlook has a big blotch of red across most of the Northeast and including New Jersey. It's also drier than average into the first week of May. The dry weather persists today, especially with highs well above average. The low humidity remains throughout tomorrow and Thursday. Only 68 is the high Thursday, so a little bit of a cool down before bouncing back into the 80s with higher humidity and a chance for some storms by Friday evening. Some of that rain lingers into Saturday, clearing by Saturday night, and Sunday looks beautiful. A little bit cooler at the coast, not much of a sea breeze tomorrow. It's a warmer day at the beaches for tomorrow. Cooler on Thursday, and then Friday brings back those clouds by the end of the day. It's a beautiful weekend ahead, no matter where you find yourself. Better half of the weekend is Sunday. We've got a nice start to the month of May. We'll tell you all about it again some more tomorrow, right here on the New Jersey Morning Show. Ken, be sure to join us then.
You got it, sir. Thank you very much, meteorologist Mike Favetta. It is 8:52, and New Jersey's celebration of Italian-American heritage is back with Paisan Con 2025. By the way, for those who don't know, Paisan means fellow countryman. It means somebody from your neck of the woods. It is a vibrant convention showcasing pop culture, entertainment, and culinary arts. It's set for May 9th to 11th at the Williams Center in Rutherford. This event promises celebrity meet and greets, live performances, and a Mother's Day cabaret. Joining us now is Nick Petito, who's co-founder of Paisan Con, to share what makes this event a must-visit for fans of Italian-American culture. Thank you for being here, Nick. Good to have you on this morning.
Thank you for having me, Ken, and everybody at ONNJ. I keep calling it ONNJ. I know it's ONNJ. I'm so sorry.
I know it's okay. I go through it myself, and it's okay to say ONNJ because that's the website address. So you can still say ONNJ. You're fine doing it that way. So PaisanCon 2025 is described as a celebration of Italian American heritage and pop culture. So what inspired you to create this unique convention, and how has it evolved since its debut?
So I created this convention out of grief for my family and how we used to bond. It was all through the culture, whether it be film, music, food, just being with family, being with community. That's what it's all about. It's all about uniting everybody, creating opportunities in the community, and connecting everybody to make the next person's dreams come true, passing the torch and giving back to the community. Trying to get people that are high in the entertainment industry or just high in different communities, and the not only the Italian community, but people who appreciate the Italian community. As we say, you don't have to be Italian to be a paisan. You just got to be a
Right.
friend. And we really love spreading the joy of the culture to other cultures, and we have a lot of people who aren't Italian that come to the event, and they get to celebrate our heritage and learn about it throughout the day. But I lost my mom back in
Oh,
2013, about 12
sorry.
years ago. Yeah, thank you. And I've lost pretty much my entire family. I have my brother and sister left, and I grieve my family, my uncle, my grandparents, my father, mother, everybody through different films, music. All this stuff has a big place in my heart, and it's a lot of people. I like to create art through the grief that I've lived through. You take something negative and you try to turn it into a positive.
And this is perfect. This is a great way to honor their memories and to come into contact with fellow Italian Americans. I'm sure you see resemblances because I mean our gene pool isn't that big. You see resemblances. Italy is amazing though because it's such a depending. You can look at the maps online of where the origins of the different genetic pools are in the south and the north. We have everything from Gales to Roman blood to Etruscan blood, and it's all that's what makes up Italy today. Even Arab blood in the south and Sicily, but that's the beauty of Italy because it's not just one monolithic bloodline; it's a conglomerate of bloodlines. You go to Italy today, big Asian population in Florence, and African population. They come from Mondalusa and whatnot. They come in because they're fleeing persecution in Africa. That's what makes Italy so beautiful today. And you have big celebs this year. You got Lorraine Bracco, Tommy DeVito. Highlight some of the big moments that you have.
That was last year. Last year
Oh,
we had
okay.
Lorraine Bracco and Tommy DeVito.
This
This
must have
year
been
we have
last
a
year's
lot of
script. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Last year we had Lorraine Bracco and Tommy DeVito, Catherine Narducci. This year we're doing a Sopranos reunion with over 15 cast members: Federico Castelluccio, Vincent Curatola, Sophia Milos, Oksana Lada, who's really never done too many conventions, Matt Servito, David Preval, who very rarely makes an appearance, fantastic actor who was in Mean Streets. Then we have some Hall
Right.
of Fame champion boxers. Vinny Paz, great champion. You know his story. He won the championship, got in a car accident. They told him he would never walk again. Fought, came back, and he won the championship again. So I'm very excited to meet him. Ray Boom Boom Mancini, Terrell Hicks, Jade from Bronx Tale, Gianni Russo, Carlo from The Godfather, Mike Starr and Chris Cerrone from Goodfellas. There's almost, I think there's about close to 3 dozen celebrities we have so far. I
So you have
apologize if I
nobody
left
as rich as
anybody out.
Ken. You have nobody. Nobody's coming. That's absolutely nobody. This is unbelievable. This is a lot of work on your part. I'm sure something like this, it doesn't just happen. You must have been working day and night, round the clock to make this happen. And you got the Mother's Day Cabaret on May 11th featuring a Jersey Boys cover group, right? Sounds like a special
Yes.
tribute. How did you decide to include this show and what makes it just the perfect fit for Paisan Khan?
So Mother's Day is always a tough day of the year for me, and I know it's
Yeah.
tough for a lot of people. And I wanted to do I wanted to do something on Mother's Day. And right after my mother passed, one of my sister's friends bought tickets for me to go see Jersey Boys. And the show starts out Belleville, New Jersey. That's
Mhm.
where I'm from, Belleville, New
I
Jersey.
used to live in Belleville. I used to live there.
I do still live in Belleville. I love Belleville. It's a great
Cool.
town. And
And I used to live on Route 10 Road, my friend. I know that. I know Belleville very well. Great town.
Oh, nice. Wow. What a small world. We'll have a lot of
Yeah,
people from Belleville coming to Paisan Con. There's a lot of Paisans
great.
in Belleville. And yeah, Mother's Day, Jersey Boys, Belleville Boy, Project 63, they're fantastic. T-Bone Rube, he leads the group and he's an amazing talent. I've known him for a long time. And we're very excited to bring Jersey Boys to the Williams Center.
So we're like we have 10 seconds. I need a website because
Okay.
I got to get everybody there. What's your website?
PaisanCon.com. Get your tickets now, May 9th to 11th, the Williams Center, Rutherford, New Jersey.
Do not miss it, and you don't have to be Italian to enjoy it. Go. Nick Petito, co-founder of Paisan Con, May 11th, 9th to 11th, May 9th to 11th at the Williams Center in Rutherford. Thank you for being with us. God bless you, and what a special tribute for your family too. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ken. God bless you and everyone on On NJ. Thank you. Have a good one.
You
Ciao.
got that works for us. Thank you, my friend. And that'll do it for this edition of On New Jersey Mornings. I'm Ken Rosato. Beautiful sunshine today. It's going to be in the low to mid 80s and dry. We'll catch you again tomorrow morning starting 7 a.m. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again for watching On New Jersey Mornings. We'll see you then.